Welcome, it's Debrup on Air. I'm your host Debrup Laha, and this is The International Lens, where we dive into the real life stories of international students in the US. I have been in your shoes, earning both my bachelor's and master's degrees here, and now I'm working full time in the States. This podcast series is for you, whether you're already studying in the US or just planning to. Every week, I'll bring you conversations with students from all over the world, sharing their journeys, challenges, and triumphs. My mission? It's to give you the insights and inspirations you need as you carve your own path in the US. So, whether you're dreaming of studying here or already on your journey, this podcast is your ultimate guide. Tune in and let's make your American adventure one to remember. Welcome, everyone, to one more episode of the International Lens. Today, we have with us our current master student from New York University, Mr. Ram Charan Kalivarapu. Ram, welcome to the episode.
Hi there, bro. Thank you for inviting me.
How are you doing today?
So far, it's good. It's a Sunday morning in New York City, so a little bit tired,
Uh,
but yeah.
nice. Great. So, when we get started, could you tell us a little bit about your educational background and your qualifications?
Sure. So originally, I'm from India. I did my bachelor's studies up in India, and I came to my master's in management of technology at New York University. So I did my undergrad in NIT Surathkal, and I pursued metallurgical and materials engineering over there.
Mhm.
After my degree, I worked as a management consultant at GS Associates with my campus placement from NIT Surathkal. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. And originally, I'm from Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh, in
Okay.
India.
Okay. So, you did your bachelor's in metallurgical sciences, you said, right?
Yes,
And then you worked at ZS Associates. And
yes,
after that, you decided to do your master's in management of technology, which is totally deviated from your bachelor's degree, which was in metallurgical sciences.
correct.
Great to know. So, on the same context, could you walk us through the application process for your master's degree program and how was it like since you were changing streams?
The application process was pretty simple for me, actually. Um, they asked a simple essay, like back in my time, like 1 year back, it was a one essay with single prompt. But for the fall 25 students, they changed it to two prompts.
Okay.
So it was very simple. They asked about my motivations, my goals, and what I'm expecting out of the degree, and why I will be a good candidate for the program, and what I'm bringing to the class. So these are the kind of questions they asked for my essay. And they asked two letter of recommendations. And if you have work experience more than 2 years, they asked like to get all the recommendations from your workplace. If you have less than 2 years, we have the option to get it from our undergrad professors or your workplace supervisors and so on. So I submitted one letter of recommendation from my workplace and one letter of recommendation from my um, undergrad thesis as professor. And the GRE was optional at NYU, but other colleges had GRE as mandatory. So I did write GRE. Actually, I wrote two times. First time when I wrote, I thought that my score was too less for the college I'm applying. So I kind of wrote it again and then I submitted that score. But GRE was optional for NYU. And there was no compulsion that you need to, even though it's optional, if you submit your GRE score, then it might be helpful for your application. I didn't see the difference between me and other applicants who didn't uh, submit the GRE score. So, and I wrote IELTS. IELTS was mandatory. If we are an international student, then there's no English language test waiver for at NYU. So you need to write either IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo, or Pearson. NYU accepts all those multiple English language tests.
Yeah.
But I preferred IELTS because IELTS was widely accepted in all the countries around the world, like UK, Australia, and USA. So I preferred IELTS at that time. And then what else? Yeah, and then they asked the undergrad transcripts and the proof of degree. So since I already graduated 2 years back, I had my transcripts and degree. But people who are in their final year of their studies, they will get a little problem with their degree and their transcripts because they are still in their degree. For them, they need to submit the transcripts up until the 3-1, it's called seventh semester, and then the provisional degree document. So it's pretty straightforward process. And coming to the shift, I was in my like core engineering degree, metallurgical and material sciences, but my job was in management consulting. So from my job experience to this degree, it's not much of a change. It's kind of a career progression for like undergrads who are getting into consulting. They kind of, after 2 years, they pursue a master's degree, and then again they come back to consulting, or they shift to banking or finance or any other. But it was an interesting story for my core engineering background to management transition during my undergrad job. So I kind of did my internships and industrial trainings in multiple industries in metallurgy. So I worked in steel plant, I worked in BHEL, I worked in DRDO, and then all these I interned, and I interned at ship making center at Visakhapatnam. So when I was working through all these places, like I kind of understood that, okay, I am not, even though I'm enjoying the subject, I am enjoying the challenges at the work, but me, myself, as my health and my body is not adjusting to the industrial atmosphere daily, working in that heat and oil, grease, and all kind with that heavy uniform, hat, boots, and everything. I found that, okay, it might not be for me, this kind of job environment. And then being a student leader at my undergrad college and everything, helping with the administration, managing the college funds for the fests and so on, those leadership skills are kind of made my application go through all the consulting company placement process. And then I kind of topped all the case studies and everything. I didn't prepare for them exclusively, but I just attempted them and I kind of cleared everything, and I got into consulting. So I was like, okay, it's a new thing, let me try.
Great. So you summarized everything very nicely. So because of your work experience, you're saying that helped you a lot to transition into the master's program rather than directly coming for your master's after your bachelor's.
Correct.
Makes sense. Just taking a step back, you said you had multiple admits and you decided to choose NYU. Which are the other schools where you got the admit and why did you choose NYU in particular?
So I applied to only 5 universities. I don't know whether I was like so confident or overconfident at the time when I am applying, because every one of the senior or many admission consultants around in India, they always tell like apply three ambitious, five mid, and five safe schools kind of. But I was like, my profile is too good to apply for all these schools. I don't know. At the time, I was too overconfident kind of, and I applied to only 5 schools. First thing is I applied to NYU SPS, where I applied for the management and systems degree. And then I applied NYU Tandon for the management of technology degree. And then I applied to Duke MIM program. And I applied to Austin MSBA. And then I applied to Stanford MEM and Columbia MEM. So I got rejected at Stanford because, as I told, I felt that my GRE score is not too good for all these colleges, and I reapplied again. By the time I rewrote the GRE, Stanford application deadline is already done, and I got waitlisted at Columbia, and I got into NYU, Duke, and Austin. The reason I chose NYU is because it's the only program out of all the universities I applied to. It's 2 years degree, and remaining my other admits are only for 9 months and 9 months and 12 months. So I was like, 9 months and 12 months degree are like very short for me. First to arrive, adjust, and then apply to internships, understand the US culture and each and everything. And then by the time I understand everything, it's already late to apply to the full-time jobs, I felt. And since it's 1 year degree, the coursework also will be pretty heavy, I felt. So I was like, okay, let me take the 2 year degree and I will be in New York City. I won't be in the home, or I won't be in Austin. I will be in New York City. So I kind of chose NYU, and NYU offered a good amount of scholarship also, which helped. It's pretty expensive, but that very little scholarship they offered, it kind of helped me in making my decision to NYU. It's pretty simple. Only reason it was 2 years in New York City.
Okay, congrats on the scholarship, firstly. And
Thank you.
you mentioned also that you received admits from UT Austin as well as Duke University, and both of them were less than 2 year program. Like one was a 9 month program and another one was a 1.5 year program. whereas
Yeah,
the Management of Technology program at NYU was being offered for a full 2-year, 4-semester program. So that was
correct,
one of the primary reasons you chose NYU. And in
correct.
addition, you always wanted to come to New York City, the Big Apple.
Yeah,
So how is it
yeah.
like at New York City? Tell us a bit about how the weather is like, how's the culture, food, how's the lifestyle in general?
I arrived in August, like fall 24. From August to November, I actually enjoyed it. There was no jackets, no thermals, no nothing, just casuals. Go in a t-shirt and simple jeans and casuals to college. It was so easy. I felt like, oh, New York City is pretty easy. Why do they tell that the weather is horrible, weather is harsh and everything? But after December, that break, it entirely the worse conditions started, I would say, because this is the first time I'm experiencing the single digit like still I'm not accustomed to the Fahrenheit kind of scale. Still I'm a Celsius guy. So the single digit Celsius degrees, negative degrees, and everything. So it was pretty hard initially to wear all the jackets, thermals, and layering up, gloves, whatnot, everything, snow boots, and everything. And when it snowed, I always get scared, like whether I will slip or not. So each and every step, I will be very careful. So that was very, very harsh. In the initial 2, 3 weeks, I was like, my health was okay. I didn't catch any cold or any fever. But by the end of January, actually, like in the January third week, I got pretty sick with fever and everything. So I would say be careful with New York weather. Don't undermine it. It's pretty harsh. And the winds actually make it more worse than actual temperature. So it's pretty bad. And if I'm feeling this for New York City, I I can expect what other people at Buffalo or other states experiencing. New York City is pretty urban, so the temperatures are pretty much higher than the other places. But I can understand what the other people in Michigan, Chicago, and all the other places they are going through for the snow and everything.
Yes,
Coming to the yeah, yeah, continue.
no, what I was saying is I completely agree to what you're saying. I can revisit my university days when I was in New York as well, and how difficult it must have been, and the weather being very harsh. And like you mentioned, upstate New York is probably worse,
Yeah,
but New York City, the wind definitely is challenging. And you mentioned about all the gears. I can pretty much understand how difficult it might have been to just get all the gears and then make sure you are not slipping in the snow. So definitely a very good thing you mentioned for the audience, and that people should not underestimate the weather in New York.
yeah,
And I hope you're feeling better now because you mentioned you were sick. So
yeah, yeah. Now I'm a little bit better actually.
cool. And don't feel bad about the Fahrenheit Celsius. I'm in the US for more than 12 years now. I still discuss with others about temperatures in Celsius. Fahrenheit sometimes doesn't make sense to me. Like I need to take a step back for 5 seconds just to understand how much 50-degree Fahrenheit is in with respect to whether it's cold or hot. So nothing to feel bad about. It's pretty normal.
Yeah.
So yeah, coming to our next question, another step back is you mentioned about the application process and you discussed very clearly about the different requirements for the application process. Any challenges you faced and were there any mentors or seniors who were there to assist you during that application process?
Uh, by the time, like, I kind of applied to NYU. Like, my first application was to NYU SPS. I applied for the first time to NYU SPS, and that application was kind of a test case. Like, let me put that NYU SPS application, and then it will give me an idea about my profile, whether I'm really standing out of all the applicants at a very prestigious university like NYU. So that application was like a test case, and I am just testing the system and I was waiting whether I will get admitted or not. Like and I applied and I got admitted. I was like, okay. So I got that confidence that okay, my profile is kind of standing out, and if I work a little bit more on it, I might land many more admits because as I initially told you, I'm applying only to all selected universities, right? So initially I needed that boost and confidence in myself to apply for more universities, and each application was pretty expensive too. So all the applications started at $100 and they're ranging up to $200. The
Wow.
good thing is that NYU provided me waivers,
Okay.
and getting waivers is also not easy because you need to look at their websites, attend the webinars, mail them. And each university has different priorities in giving the waivers. So some universities just provide the code when you mail them, but some universities insist you to attend a webinar. And some universities are like you need to get a minimum GRE score or a minimum CGPA in your undergrad to be eligible for the waiver. So each university has multiple waiver requirements. So it was initially a little bit hard for me to go through all this stuff and which university is giving the waiver and whether I'm eligible to get the waiver or not. And I was pretty lucky actually to say to find the NYU WhatsApp group
Mm-hmm.
pretty early in my application process. I would say in August 2023 or November 2023 kind of time when I'm still in submitting my application, preparing my application documents kind of stage. That was the time I met you actually in the groups. So I was asking all the now I feel like I ask like very simple questions, like stupid questions now I feel. But at that time I felt like those are the pretty big questions to me, and those were the questions which are giving me many sleepless nights. So I would say that that WhatsApp group pretty helped me, and I also kind of reached to multiple seniors in LinkedIn who they helped about regarding my SOP, checking my SOP and making corrections or like crafting the story in SOP kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That helped me a lot. And some seniors like helped me in sharing the textbooks and materials which they prepare for GRE and all this stuff. And when all my applications are done, so again, seniors helped me in making the decision which university I should choose to I should choose and how much expenses I can expect at each university per month and how to manage the finances and everything. And I remember you did a pretty big PDF actually regarding what to pack and bank accounts, New York Metro, New York Subway. Still, I'm getting the Metro thing, Indian,
We all
but
use that
here it's
term, don't we?
yeah, here it's called Subway. So New York Subway, each and everything like health insurance, credit cards, and everything. So that document from you actually helped me. Thank you for that, actually.
No problem. I really like the fact that you mentioned about the different resources you used at that time, starting from asking the different universities about the different do's and don'ts for the or the different requirements for the waiver, application fee waiver. And while you
Yeah,
mentioned some of them just provided you with the code, whereas some universities required you to attend a webinar and then you could get the application fee waiver. So that's a very
yeah,
good thing you mentioned because prospective students should keep that in mind when they're applying, that you don't get until you ask. So you need to take that extra step to ask the university about the waiver requirement. And also you mentioned how you use different resources in the form of LinkedIn, your NYU seniors, as well as the different social media channels to get all the help that you could get. And trust me on one thing, no question is a dumb question. No question is
yeah,
stupid. At this, initially, we sometimes have a lot of questions because we as students, we don't always know like what to expect. But
yeah,
definitely until you ask, you don't get to know. So it's better to be safe than to be sorry. So it's a good thing you mentioned that you asked every question in detail. Thank you for that.
yeah.
Now, coming to your current program at MOT or Management of Technology at NYU, could you tell
Mhm.
our audience a little bit about what are the coursework you're taking? And is everybody in your program coming from a metallurgical background, or are there people from different diverse backgrounds? How is the classroom like?
So I didn't find many core engineers actually, like core engineers in the sense, a little bit correction. Like there are many people from metallurgical and triple E background, like triple E in the sense electrical and electronics engineering background, but I didn't find many people from civil, chemical, metallurgy, or like aerospace, automobile kind of engineering here. I did find some people in like from these chemical automobile stuff, but they are pursuing their masters in the same field at NYU,
Okay.
but not in the management program per se here. Most of the students are from either economics and commerce background
Mhm.
or from the computer science background in my program. So from core engineering, actually, no, actually, if there are from proper engineering, many people are from mechanical,
Okay.
most people. And regarding diversity, uh, particularly in my program, it's majorly Indian and Chinese. but you can find people, American, Latin American, and then some European candidates, African too. But they are there. But if you just go into the classroom and you can see that mostly people are from China and India, but many of them are from China's origin and Indian origin. They are Americans, so it's get a little bit confused there. But yeah, you can mostly find Indians and Chinese people. Regarding the coursework, it's actually MOT degree when compared to other MEM. MOT is generalized as engineering management and industrial engineering degree in our I-20 or wherever. So when compared this MOT degree with other similar programs at multiple universities, the diversity in the courses which we have here is pretty vast, I would say, when compared to other programs at the universities. So when you look at, for example, Columbia's similar program, it's called Management Science and Engineering over there. I
Yeah.
applied to that and got blacklisted. That's a different story. But there it's mostly focused on product management and consulting. And if you go to Duke's similar program, it's again product management and different other analytics and kind of stuff. When you look at Purdue, it's mostly project management and then proper engineering management kind of roles. And then UT Austin, it's morely focused on business analytics and kind of like that. But at NYU, I don't know whether it's a good thing or bad thing. It's not particularly focused on a singular track, I would say. So here you can, and this is the only program where I found HR courses, human resource courses in the program. So I would say that if you are thinking for an MBA degree in the future, and if you don't have enough money or enough experience, but you want to kind of get an idea or experience what kind those kind of subjects are. I don't say it's an equal to an MBA program. It's not at all equal to an MBA program. But here you could study all those programs. So in my first semester, I studied economics, finance, marketing, and strategy. And in my second semester, I'm studying innovation, organizational behavior, and supply chain management. So, and in my third semester, again, I will be taking some product management and some entrepreneurship and HR courses. And in my final semester, still I'm not sure of that. But if you look at when I graduate, if you look at my transcript, you will see that I had covered all the different topics that an MBA degree would consider. So, firstly, which I most liked about NYU's degree is that they're providing courses in all the sectors of an MBA degree which a person actually wanted to go into. So if someone is more interested in economics, they have an economics track. If someone is more interested in fintech, they have fintech track, project management, product management, HR, business analytics, and then you have something called in civil engineering and urban planning track where you study management in the civil engineering, urban planning, and urban architecture kind of stuff. Like it's called CUSP here, Center for Urban Science and Progress. So
That's
you have,
in the construction sector, right?
yeah, construction sector, yeah. So you have that track too. And if you don't want any tracks, you can just mix and match everything and you can just take each course from everywhere. And you also have this opportunity to take uh, three courses. That means 9 credits from NYU Tandon School of Business. So where people take the courses of their which many of my seniors are taking data science courses and some are taking blockchain, some are in product management, some are in proper into consulting, some are into entrepreneurship. So you have this multiple resources actually to take courses from different, you can pick and choose. And actually one of my seniors suggested me to take the sustainability course.
Okay.
So uh, you have this uh, diversity and you have this full meals option and you can pick which course you can want and you can devise your own curriculum. So you have that option at NYU. So I'm just trying to find out which courses will be suitable for me. And by the time I am looking for a job, I have this at least 2, 3 different resumes so that I can just pick and apply to different kind of roles. And each course is project oriented. It's just not theory. So you get to work on simulations, projects, and yeah, you in my economics, like I wrote a paper already. So you have this opportunity to network with all the different students from different backgrounds, and then you get to work on the subjects. And as part of my coursework in supply chain management, I was expected to read the Economist every week, and in economics course, I was expected to read Wall Street Journal every week, and to I need to write a summary every week on the Wall Street Journal. So you get accustomed to all the different kind of stuff, which is actually I felt pretty cool. And the networking opportunities here with the multiple uh, organizations and Wasam and Career Development Center and multiple clubs, the kind of seniors and industry experts they bring in and the career fairs they bring in. And being in New York City, it's endless networking fairs, you can say. It's
Absolutely.
you need to be ready. So you just need to put out yourself. So it's endless opportunities for networking, I would say.
Great. You mentioned very nicely about the diverse coursework that NYU has to offer in the Management of Technology program, which now that I'm thinking, you probably chose NYU for that reason as well, and not just the Big Apple. So definitely, I understand that the coursework is definitely going to help you in the long run. And you mentioned about you're taking courses, you have the option to take courses in economics, finance, HR. So let's say somebody who's coming to this Management of Technology program right after their bachelor's without any work experience. Do you
Mhm.
suggest them to gain some skills in the interim period after their bachelor's and before the start of their master's, just so that they can have a smooth transition?
I would actually recommend that before this because most of the Indians from the undergrad are coming from who like most of the Indians who are directly coming from the undergrad are from an engineering background. So when they are coming to management of technology and if they are getting admitted at NYU, I feel that they will at least have an idea of what they're expecting out of this degree and what are their goals l- aligned with the degree. So if they are clueless, I don't think NYU will get they will get an admission at a college like NYU. They will have some idea, but uh, some internships in management field would help them actually if they don't have any particular internships in management side. I would actually recommend getting some certifications done in Coursera in the meantime, or going through some there are vast lectures in YouTube actually, so they can just go through all the lectures. So if they have plenty of time, I would recommend getting a project management certificate or a Six Sigma certificate,
Okay.
or just go through any Coursera courses. Like I would recommend finance. There's a course called Financial Markets by Professor Robert Scheller
Okay.
from Yale University. He's a Nobel Prize winner in economics actually. So he has a pretty very good course in financial markets. I actually did that course during my undergrad. I completed it with honors actually. So I would recommend that course. It will give you an idea actually to what to expect from the coursework. You might think that okay, it's a management degree. These are the roles I might land in the roles. These are the kind of assignments. These are the kind of work I do. But if you are not sure what kind of assignments you are doing, what kind of coursework you will be doing, and what questions you will be expecting in your midterms and the end terms kind of stuff, I would recommend at least try reading a subject. Actually. So if you, I think already you are in contact with some seniors, and if you ask them what books you are going through in your subject, so they'll pretty much share like, okay, if you are interested in economics, I am going through this book by this particular author. So get a copy and go through it. If you are interested in finance, if you are interested in marketing, so we can guide. So I would recommend getting a certification or doing some course in Coursera so that they will know what they can expect from the course, and it won't be a very huge change when they're coming to a degree, when they're pursuing a master's level courses in finance and economics when they have an engineering background. It won't be that much of a shock for them.
Okay. Thank you very much for this recommendation. I certainly believe this will be helpful for the students, especially the coursework that you mentioned by the professor from Yale University. So students can definitely look into that coursework just to get an idea of what to expect when they start their master's degree program. Since we are coming towards the end, I have a couple of more questions for you. What are your plans for this summer?
This summer, probably an internship,
Okay.
hopefully.
How are
Not
the
that much.
internship applications coming along?
It's very tiring actually. I already crossed 400 applications, I think, and actually I stopped keeping a count after my 250th application, and actually I stopped counting and noting it down what company I have applied to, what role I have applied to, and everything. Who gave me a referral and kind of stuff. I stopped keeping a track also. But for the kind of number of applications I put in and the number of callbacks I got, I would say it's not that much exciting, but I'm getting like assessment tests and phone call interviews and first round of case studies and so on. So I would say that the hiring is happening, but still I'm not sure, like down the line in the next 3 months, what will happen. So mostly by January 31st is done. So the internship application period is done. Now most of the companies will start looking at the applications and they will start calling out people. This is January to March is like the most companies start hiring for the summer interns. So application process might have just started now. Like the big companies like Google and all, they have already filled the positions, but the other companies will just start closing their applications and start the giving out the interviews and so on. So I am not losing the hope, but let's see.
Yeah, from what I've understood after speaking with you, you're very serious and focused. So keep hustling. Remember that you need just one offer. This one
Yeah,
offer is what you need at the end of the day to start your career.
yeah,
So keep trying. And like you mentioned, this is now the time for companies to make their decisions. So I'm hoping with everyone that you do manage to get an internship somewhere for this summer.
yeah. Hope
Um,
so.
Coming to the last couple of questions, after your graduation from NYU, which is probably next year, where do you see
Yeah.
yourself working? Do you want to join the industry or do you want to further your studies and do a PhD?
Initially, I had this thought of doing a PhD because I come from a teaching background. Like my father, my mother, my grandfather, my aunts, my uncles, and my grandfather's brothers. Each and everyone was a teacher back in India, teachers, lecturers, professors. So I don't know why, but initially I had that thing that okay, I can be a teacher. That's in my blood, kind of stuff. But I'm not sure. But maybe down the line, after having some 15, 20 years of industry, I might shift into teaching, but not immediately after my master's degree. Even though I wanted, I can, but I have a huge loan. First, I need to clear that back so that maybe, or at least for that, for 3 to 5 years, I might work in the industry, and later, who knows? I
Yes,
can.
I'm pretty sure you'll land a great job after your studies and you'll be able to clear all the educational loan. And who knows, you might go to teaching later in your career, but your first goal is to join the industry. That's very great
Mm.
to hear. And another question I had was, are you planning to attend any job conferences or any career related conferences in the next couple of years?
Yes, I actually I attended all the career fairs at NYU and outside NYU, I attended in Columbia. Actually, a career fair happened in Columbia.
Okay,
That's not exclusive for Columbia students. So I kind of got to know about that and I attended that. And then I attended some networking events from multiple clubs. Actually, from there's a club called NYU Aviation Club,
okay,
and I'm a pretty active participant and I'm a very big air geek actually. So when I was in my hometown, I always used to spot planes and everything. So I kind of have that enthusiasm in me. So recently I attended, there's a professional club for all the aviation geeks called Wings Club in this New York City. So recently I attended a networking conference there and I met many CEOs of different airlines, different leasing companies, different airline manufacturers. So I had a very decent conversations with each and every one of the CEOs and every. So, for example, I met the AirAsia CEO on that day, and I met the GE General Electric CFO. I met Simply Flying CEO, and I met Sun Country CEO. I met Pratt and Whitney CEO. So I kind of enjoyed all the stuff. And coming in I think in the February end we have this conference at Atlanta for in a club called IISC. It's Institute of Industrial and Systems Engineers. I'm thinking to attend that for
okay.
the initially, and I also think to attend the Grace Hopper and all the other
Mhm.
uh, networking events maybe in the next year.
Okay.
And yeah,
Yes.
yes, and I also attended the SHRM networking event.
Okay. Wow. So you attended a lot of networking events. So networking is the key in the US, from what I can understand. And a
Yes.
last question would be, how is the on-campus job situation at NYU? Is it competitive or is it easy to get?
It's very competitive, I would say.
Okay.
Initially, back in India, I kind of networked with the admission people because in NYU actually conducted last year a fair, like not a fair, like a meet up with all the admitted students at multiple locations in the city. So I know I kind of networked with the people of the admissions team, and they like my experience with my admissions and everything. So I thought that I kind of landed a job. I got the interview immediately and everything, but at the last moment, I got rejected for unknown reasons. So initially, when I was in India, I was like, okay, on-campus job is set and everything is set. But after that, I didn't hear back any calls. And again, in the spring semester now, I attended some interviews and again, I got rejected for the on-campus jobs. I don't know why I'm getting rejected from the on-campus jobs. One of the office told that I'm overqualified for the role,
Hmm. Okay.
but I'm not sure what's happening with the other roles. And it's pretty hard. Like there's this portal called Handshake where you apply, but it's each and every one of the NY student applies to that Handshake. So it's pretty hard for us to get seen out of those hundreds of applications and get called for an interview. So it's pretty much luck based. Yeah, it's not about you. It's mostly about luck and the number of applications they are looking at. Most of the offices just see the first 10 applications or first 20 applications and they kind of ignore the other because even they don't have time. So whenever you see a posting in Handshake, just apply immediately. Don't wait for that. That's the only suggestion I can give. Hope so I can land a on-campus job soon. I got some pretty good grades, so maybe next year I can get the TA roles. But yeah,
Okay. Yeah, keep trying. Never give up. Like I mentioned, you need that one offer. So keep trying. It
yeah,
doesn't really hurt. And this conversation could go on. You're a very knowledgeable person, and we'll again invite you for another episode in the future. But thank you
sure.
so much for your time today. I'm pretty sure the prospective students are going to get great insights when they listen to this episode. And I'm pretty sure a lot of students will be contacting you as well to get insights about how the application process is and how the situations are with respect to NYU. So please feel free to reach out to Ram for all the students. He's a very serious candidate, and as you can understand, he's very knowledgeable and he has done his research in the field before choosing this program. Thank you
Sure,
very
like let
much,
me
Ram.
throw any questions. You can share my LinkedIn link in the description or anywhere. You can just type my entire name in LinkedIn. You can get me. It's the same in Instagram or everywhere. I'm actually very eager to help students, and because of that reason, I joined NYU Student Government Assembly too. I got elected there, so I'm always ready to help students.
Cool. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Devru.
Thanks for tuning in. Got questions or suggestions? Drop me an email at debrouponair@gmail.com. Catch you in the next episode. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.